Naruto Vortex, never speak in secret. This will be a special story. Keywords of the novel. Naruto, don't speak dark words, no pop-ups. Naruto, don't speak dark words. Download the full text. Naruto, don't speak dark words. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Binding the Golden Powder Family, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Ties. Golden Powder Family, Part 1, Night, slightly cool. A new moon hangs in mid-air. The gentle night breeze, however, did not bring a sense of coolness. Instead, there was an extra restlessness under the illumination of the campfire. Under the residual light, the two figures appeared very obvious in the firelight. One tall and one short. One big and one small. One fat and one thin. From the appearance, it should look like an adult and a child, just like Yao Ming and a child, but in fact, both are children. The short, thin, and small one is a boy with blonde hair and 6 whiskers on his cheeks like a cat. At this moment, a boy named Naruto Vortex is grabbing his head with both hands, constantly scratching his hair, causing his relatively neat golden hair to become messy. He is like a provoked fox, starting to become irritable and crazy. It shouldn't be. Looking at the book in front of him, which was the size of his own, and the handwriting on it, Naruto Vortex felt his brain beating and his entire brain boiling. For a moment, he had a scene of teaching his foolish sister to do homework in the previous life. That terrible question, that terrifying answer, at completely baffling answer, plus the innocent look in the other person's eyes at this moment, the anger of countless parents is converging on him. As long as he gathers this power of anger, Naruto Vortex has an impulse to transform. This irritable force can be compared to the power of a fairy. Naruto Vortex felt like he was about to turn into a big star and show the other person what art was. Mama, faced with Naruto Vortex's irritability, the description of tall and fat, which looks completely opposite to being short and thin, appears on this girl with cute pink hair, and hearty laughter comes from her mouth. At this moment, she is squinting her eyes and eating a lollipop happily. Especially when she saw Naruto Vortex's angry yet restrained appearance, the girl didn't pay much attention. After all, she sees this kind of scene almost every day. It's been almost half a year now. At first, she was a bit scared, but over time she got used to it. Looking at the exploding Naruto Vortex, the girl reached out her big hand and gently patted the other person's head that reached her waist, muttering, all right, Naruto, you should be happy. Facing Naruto's slightly exploratory gaze, the girl smiled and said, after all, Lingling, I have worked hard to fill all those squares. Pop. Directly slapping oneself on the forehead, making a crisp sound. Naruto Vortex only felt that everything from the past had truly returned, and after crossing over, he experienced the familiar emotions before crossing over, which was truly gratifying. I casually flipped through the huge homework book in my hand again, looked at the space that had been finally filled by the other party, and added the dog-like handwriting. I glanced at the girl beside me, and what could Naruto Vortex say? At least Charlotte Lingling did not plagiarize. She is still a naive and good girl who is working hard on her homework. That's right. This pink-haired girl, who is comparable to Yao Ming, is Big Mom, one of the 4 emperors from the One Piece world. Of course. The current Charlotte Lingling is just a pitiful girl over 5 years old, abandoned by her family in the land of giants. In this peculiar space, Charlotte Lingling, who was only 5 years old and had just been abandoned by her parents, met Naruto Vortex. Afterwards, there was a scene that had just happened. This space is a unique space inherent to Naruto Vortex. After crossing into the world of Hokage and becoming Naruto Vortex, the gift received from the traveler is commonly known as hanging. Unfortunately, Naruto Vortex noticed his ability and found that this unique space was somewhat similar to the Tail Beast's sealing space. Unlike the sealed space of the Tail Beast, which is not as closed and dark, there is enough space, and besides that, there seems to be nothing else. Another point is that in this space, Naruto Vortex has the ability to achieve his dreams and create things out of thin air. At first, Naruto Vortex thought that this ability could be released, but later realized that it was not the case. This space is not a true space, but has characteristics similar to the ceiling space of the tail beast, and is a spiritual space. The flow rate of time is completely unequal to the outside world, and it can even reach the point where the flow rate of time in the spiritual space stops, but it only consumes one's own spiritual power. In other words, the vortex Naruto appearing in this space is, in a sense, a soul body. With such a space, without finding any other traits, Naruto Vortex found the role it could play. This space is completely a good place for oneself to research and learn. After immersing myself in this space for 2.5 years, it has shown a different place. One day, a person appeared in the space who shouldn't have appeared. That is Charlotte Lingling, one of the 4 emperors in One Piece world. A 5-year-old children's version. Naruto Vortex, who was reviewing and researching basic ninjutsu materials at the time, was stunned. First, I was shocked, compared myself, and then I was shocked. Is this really 5 years old? At that moment, Naruto Vortex wanted to apply for World Heritage status to let the bullet fly. 5 years old. Yao Ming size. A sumo wrestling figure. The power of Longzo Lolata. Even though we know that the One Piece world is different from the normal world, Charlotte Lingling's image is still stunning. You should know that Charlotte Lingling is either a giant or a normal human race. According to common sense, even a genetic mutation in Charlotte Lingling should not have caused such an outrageous change. Especially in the world of Pirate King, which already has all kinds of outrageous races, Charlotte Lingling is also a special case. After Charlotte Lingling, who was only 5 years old at the time, appeared in this spiritual space, Naruto Vortex realized that she had underestimated her cheat. This space seems to be different from his understanding. The naturally flowing Naruto Vortex became friends with Charlotte Lingling. After all, she is Lingling, who is 5 years old, not Big Mom, who is 50 years old. If there are many people in the world of One Piece who are born evil, then Charlotte Lingling is a representative of innate goodness. It's hard to imagine how naive and kind-hearted the Big Mom, who is like a great villain, would be at this age in the future. That kindness reminded Naruto Vortex of Hinata, who often quietly rolled his eyes at him. So one person had a heart, driven by the desire to study their own cheats, while the other was innocent and kind. When they met, they were like fish meeting water and becoming friends. After a period of time, Naruto Vortex's mentality in his previous life began to influence him, involuntarily treating Charlotte Lingling as her younger sister. Then it was time to give Charlotte Lingling a compulsory education hand in hand. Or rather, enlightenment. Even if you are a pirate, you still need to have culture. Then Naruto Vortex felt like he had been enchanted by the illusion of Izanami, wandering back and forth between emotional explosions and negatives every day. And today is the day for Naruto Vortex to check Charlotte Lingling's summer homework. Without any accidents, an accident occurred. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Binding the Golden Powder Family, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Ties. Golden Powder Family, Part 2, I took a long deep breath, which was enough time to lower the temperature around me by 1 point. Then, he vomited fiercely. His Naruto Vortex has a good ability to withstand pressure. Not to mention the targeted malice caused by humans in Kiba village, that thing is much more powerful than the so-called online exposure in previous lives. In the past, it was just using one's mouth on the internet, but in Konoha, people would actually take action. Even though Naruto Vortex was a navigator, he was still surrounded by many bear kids at the beginning. Even the eldest daughter of the prominent Hinata clan can be surrounded. How could he, as a young demon fox, have any accidents? It wasn't until Naruto Vortex educated a group of bear children that this situation improved a lot. However, instead, many of these children's parents are engaged in small businesses, and as a result, even Naruto Vortex, who cannot buy anything, cannot afford it. If it weren't for the hidden dark protection around him, under normal circumstances, Naruto Vortex would have had problems in the hands of these villagers. They will choose the most terrifying means they deem to be used on a young child. Being able to grow up to the current age safely is already considered lucky. However, in Naruto's view, it is not the Whirlpool Naruto who is difficult to protect in this dark area, but the villagers. If in the previous life, we saw more of the evil of human nature and the foolishness of the world in the internet, news, and history, then today's Naruto Vortex truly understands the meaning of these two. Especially the terror caused by the convergence of these two. Even though Naruto Vortex has the wisdom and perspective of an adult nowadays, he still feels the coldness that seeps into his bone marrow under the encirclement of this evil. Isolation. Gossip and gossip. Cold violence takes turns on Naruto Vortex, a young child. Naruto Vortex, who possesses the wisdom of his previous life, can be said to have truly experienced the terror contained within it in recent years. If it weren't for the mindset of enduring hardships, I'm afraid he would have already exploded. And during this process, Naruto Vortex also discovered the hidden means of the third Hokage behind the scenes. The hidden darkness around oneself is not only a means to protect oneself, but also a measure to protect other civilians. Often, when the situation is in danger, the dark side will take action to keep the situation within a controllable range. Later, at specific times, especially when Naruto's emotions reached their peak in the whirlpool, Ape Flying Sun / appeared in front of him as a kind grandfather, becoming the only savior. At this moment, Naruto Vortex truly understood the mischief of the third-generation Hokage Ape Flying Sun / It's not the indifference of Wuin Village, let alone the betrayal behind the scenes of Shine Village. The Monkey Flying Sun / is a more advanced technique. The term ruthlessness is no longer sufficient to describe the evil of the heart of the Monkey Flying Sun Slayer. Witnessing and experiencing firsthand is completely different. And this point of the Monkey Flying Sun / was also inherited by his disciple Orochimaru, which can be said to be like having a teacher, having a disciple. The so-called famous three ninjas of yellow gambling and poisoning may only have absorbed a part of the Monkey Flying Sun / In the eyes of Naruto Vortex, compared to Tsunade's gambling, Monkey Flying Sun / has a greater gambling potential, but his gambling is not about money. The characteristic of Monkey Flying Sun / reminds Naruto Vortex of another character, which is Shionba. However, compared to a tyrant, the Monkey Flying Sun / is more sinister. But what makes Naruto Vortex feel even more terrifying is his own experience, where the hatred buried in his heart is inexplicably slowly melting away, and the Madonna attribute is slowly recovering. If Naruto Vortex hadn't focused on himself from the beginning, he wouldn't have noticed this strange situation. Asura. At this moment, Naruto Vortex learned about something that had a silent impact on him. This thing makes the other gods who stop water in Yuzhibo willingly bow down. So over the course of 9 years, Naruto Vortex also found a suitable opportunity to show off and gain the most basic knowledge of ninjutsu from the hands of Ape Flying Sun / Through his own spiritual space, Naruto Vortex began his research. Just because his surname is Xian, he cannot obtain the knowledge of the Xian clan, let alone the inheritance left by his parents. The son of Huiying, the fourth-generation head of the Tang dynasty, has nothing. Vortex Naruto, who was mentally prepared, didn't pay much attention. After obtaining basic ninjutsu knowledge, it was a big step for him. Moreover, after removing the deliberate spiritual space, Naruto Vortex also has its own cheat. The 9 tails. When necessary, you can go and meet the 9 llamas who are still complaining. Compared to this, Naruto Vortex prefers to use the special spiritual space to study chakra and spend enough time finding a way to extract Asura from his body. For several years, Naruto Vortex did not find a way, and the knowledge that was presented to him at present could not yet pave the way. Even for the sake of forbearance, Naruto Vortex only studied chakra in his spiritual space, and had no intention of refining chakra in his external body. In front of Ape Flying Sun / there was still a yellow-haired child who was ignorant and knew only how to play and use various means to attract his attention. Naruto Vortex is developing in the direction expected by Ape Flying Sun / Until the 5-year-old version of Charlotte Lingling appeared in the spiritual space, Naruto Vortex saw the dawn of solving her own problems from Charlotte Lingling. Then a subconscious friendship began. From the mouth of a 5-year-old child with Yao Ming's head, it was impossible to ask why the other person appeared here, but after a period of communication, Naruto Vortex was attracted by Charlotte Lingling's pure kindness. No one can refuse a child who is innocent, kind, lovely, and knows how to share. He is no different from Naruto Vortex. So a few months later, that calculation disappeared, and the mentality of being an older brother emerged. I don't know if it's the mentality of Naruto Vortex or the influence of Ajiu. Perhaps it's the combination of the two that Naruto Vortex sees Charlotte Lingling as her true sister. He did not allow Charlotte Lingling to become illiterate, nor did he allow her to be influenced by other inexplicable people. And then, Naruto Vortex's mentality has been hit hard every day. Fortunately, during Kiba's 9 years, Naruto Vortex gained rich experience in coping with stress, which allowed him to persevere. Soothing his emotions, Naruto Vortex could only smile and spread out his huge homework book, ready to teach Charlotte Lingling her homework. On the side, Charlotte Lingling, who was licking the delicious lollipop transformed from Naruto Vortex, grabbed Naruto Vortex, who was 4 years older than her, and placed it on her own shoulder. She thought it was very convenient, otherwise if Naruto Vortex had left her homework on the ground to tell her, Lingling would have almost become a cross-eyed person. Sitting on the shoulders of a 5-year-old child for the first time, the 9-year-old Naruto Vortex looked at the round face close to Chi, as well as the eyes squinting together into crescents. His pink hair was swinging up and down with the movements of a hamster gnawing on it. It seems like something's not right. Is it the opposite? Naruto Vortex scratched his head. Perhaps sensing the gaze of Naruto Vortex, Charlotte Lingling carefully glanced at the huge notebook in her hand, especially the ghostly words on it. Charlotte Lingling smiled awkwardly, feeling quite guilty, and even rubbed her round face against Naruto Vortex. Its meaning is self-evident. And at this moment, a specially made horn sound appeared in the heart of Naruto Vortex. The host Vortex Naruto and Charlotte Lingling are bound to each other. Achievement. Golden Powder Family. Listening to the sudden sound, the so-called bonds, and the so-called achievements, Naruto Vortex didn't know how to describe his emotions for a moment. Especially the final achievement title makes it difficult for people to know how to speak up. Do you really think he hasn't watched that TV drama? In the end, Naruto Vortex only uttered one word to describe his mood. Damn it. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Fighting. No, that's a political struggle. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 3 Fighting. No, that's a political struggle. Suddenly, Naruto Vortex, who was sleeping, opened his eyes. Just finished tutoring Charlotte Lingling in the spiritual space, while also reorganizing her previous studies and reflecting on the current situation, Naruto Vortex finally returned to the real world. In the darkness, a silver-white moonlight shone in from the window and landed on the face of Naruto Vortex. In silence, Naruto Vortex could only hear his own breathing, and even with his unique spiritual power, he did not feel the uncomfortable gaze around him. At this moment, it was the safest time for Naruto Vortex in Kiba village. Picking up the stone placed on the nearby table, Naruto Vortex didn't feel any difficulty at all, so he crushed the middle stone into pieces. Looking at the falling debris in his palm and casually squeezing a small knife into a ball, Naruto Vortex was amazed. Is this the power of bondage? Charlotte Lingling is worthy of being called the existence of a steel balloon. Such physical fitness is simply outrageous. After straightening the twisted knife into a ball, Naruto Vortex reorganized his plan. With the power of this seemingly strange bond, his plan needed to be changed. However, it seems that time has come to continue teaching Ajura. In the early morning, it was just quiet. It's also the safest time for Naruto Vortex. Years of surveillance is not an easy task for the dark side, and prolonged similar behavior will eventually lead to opportunities to catch fish. Especially when monitoring a child, these emotions will gradually accumulate into habits and eventually turn into laziness and slackness. After all, for the dark side, the task of monitoring the nine-tailed human pillar force is not so much about monitoring the human pillar force, but more about guarding the roots and protecting the safety of ordinary people. Afterwards, there will be reminders for other family members in Kiba village and reports on the emotional changes of Naruto Vortex. The ninja clan, who knew the identity of Naruto Vortex, either received hints or had their own tendencies, so they turned a blind eye to the living conditions of their fourth-generation sons, and how to deal with those civilian ninjas who are loyal to the fourth generation can be said to be easily captured by the monkey-flying sun slayer. Firstly, the birth of Naruto Vortex is not a well-known event. On the night of the Nine Tails Rebellion, the changing situation made the identity of Naruto Vortex, the fourth-generation son, a small secret. If you don't know the identity of Naruto Vortex, then some of the civilian ninjas who were loyal to the Wave Wind and Water Gate during the war are unconsciously excluded, either dying in the war, in missions, or becoming completely marginalized, just like at the beginning. And for civilian ninjas who have the opportunity to know the identity of Naruto Vortex, that would be a better solution. The will of fire is burning fiercely. This fire requires sufficient firewood to burn. Those mediocre civilian ninjas, although not very talented, are just fallen leaves from big trees compared to firewood, but they are still sufficient for starting a fire. These people are all used to spread the fire. In his previous life, he didn't quite understand this situation, but after becoming Naruto Vortex in this life, he picked up the knowledge he learned in his previous life and understood it. When looking at a problem from a different perspective and identity, one will always discover different aspects. Why is Naruto Vortex so isolated in the village? Why hasn't even Chimu Kakashi, a fourth-generation disciple and even Toad Immortal Zillai, officially appeared in front of his Naruto Vortex in these 9 years? Is it indifference and indifference that turns a blind eye? No. Fundamentally, they simply cannot do it. Being able to become the shadow of a village requires corresponding political wisdom. It's not just those who only know how to fight and kill, or those who understand the relationship between readers and authors who read and write little yellow books. The incident with Naruto Vortex is not just due to the Nine Tails, but more importantly, it is due to political reasons. On the surface, this seems to be a story of love and killing between masters and disciples in the Hokage series, but when Naruto Vortex regained the knowledge he had forgotten in his previous life, he realized that the problem was not as simple as he initially thought. How did Naruto Vortex become Hokage in the original work? It seems that he saved Kiba, defeated strong enemies, and achieved a series of results. Naruto Vortex is capable of using force to become Hokage. In fact, in addition to this, Naruto Vortex also inherited the political legacy left by his father, Bo-Fong Shui-Men. How did Bo-Fong Shui-Men become Huaying? In Naruto Vortex's view, the reason why his father became the fourth-generation Hokage was completely unexpected. It is the result of various factors promoting it. Because in Naruto Vortex's view, if there were no unexpected events, the fourth-generation Hokage could have been just a written term from beginning to end, just like the Queen of England and her son who had been a crown prince for over 60 years. The 3 disciples of Ape Flying Sun / have no chance of becoming Hokage. Even Orochimaru, who seemed to have the most chance in the situation at the time, did not have a chance. Even if he defected without studying forbidden techniques, Orochimaru did not have a chance. Because his teacher, Monkey Flying Sun Slayer, will seek an opportunity to deprive Orochimaru of the opportunity to become Hokage. Just like Chimu Kakashi's father Chimu Shuamao, Note 1. It is not necessary for Chimu Shuamao to believe that it is enough for Ape Flying Sun / to believe that Chimu Shuamao has this motive. As for disciple Mitsuru Kiba, Zilai is also lascivious and carefree, making him a very easy person to attack based on personal character. His background is also just a commoner. Qianshou Gangsho, as a member of the Qianshou clan, Monkey Flying Sun / will not allow his teacher clan members to step onto the Hokage stage again. The reason for this is that Gangsho comes from a family background. The Shiwan for the Monkey Flying Sun / it is actually the easiest one to target. As a teacher, he is too aware of the weaknesses of his 3 disciples. As the saying goes in the world of Hokage, the capacity of the 3 ninjas is insufficient. As for his nominal father, Bo Feng Shui Men, who took the stage, in fact, was promoted by a series of unexpected elements in the Third Ninja War. In addition, Bo Feng Shui Men himself was a disciple of Jiraiya, and his identity as a disciple of the Monkey Flying Sun Slayer, as well as his background as a commoner, made him appear on the stage of Hokage and began performing for 4 generations. The defeat in war requires accountability. Splashing dirty water and shaking the pot. Taking advantage of the situation, he buried a poison containing a sweet taste for Orochimaru. A series of operations were used by the Monkey Flying Sun / and for various reasons, it ultimately achieved the puppet Hokage of the Wave Feng Shui Gate. And this also laid the foundation for the death of Bo Feng Shui Gate. The reason why the current Naruto Vortex was able to think so much and make corresponding changes to the speculation of the first few years is because Naruto Vortex discovered a terrible problem during his wandering years in Kiba village. Amidst the struggles of various countries and villages in the world of Hokage, which can be considered a children's play, various unique blood lineages are blooming first, and the family of monkeys flying and sun slaying undergoes terrifying changes. This is not found in the Thousand-Handed Clan, the Whirlpool Clan, the White-Eyed Clan, or the Uchiha Clan. That is why the monkey-flying family has shown a trend of aristocratic families. In the past few years of wandering, combined with eavesdropping news, Naruto Vortex combined his intelligence and found that almost half of the entire Konoha had been secretly under the control of the ape-flying family. Take the place where Naruto Vortex lives, where 2/3 of the people on this street belong to the ape-flying family. Among the small shops on the street, there are very few people who can truly own their own land, either they have a family background, or they can only rent corresponding shops. Most ordinary people can only rent the land of other ninja tribes to live. Thinking back to the Fourth Ninja War, the ape-flying clan provided over 3,000 ninjas to the battlefield, which is simply outrageous for a family. P.S. In episode 64 of the manga, there is a side story about using the technique of fire escape and flame to burn 10 tails, which is a secret ninjutsu of the ape-flying clan and unique to the ape-flying clan. Additionally, the 10 tails are over 1 kilometer in size and are still burned around them. This is an approximate number inferred from the comparison of size and side. I have sent pictures, but I don't know why they are not displayed. How big is a wooden leaf village? Adding the family members behind each ninja and so on, it can be inferred how much the ape-flying clan expanded during the period when ape-flying sun / became Hokage. So, was it his own thought and action that ape-flying Asma became one of the called 12 Great Guardian Ninjas? Thinking of this, Naruto Vortex couldn't help but touch the 6 beards on his face and muttered to himself in a voice that only he could hear, if that's the case, no matter what, then the Feng Shui Gate really can't survive. At the same time. Little ghost, what you're saying sounds amazing. In the sealed space, Jiuwei, who was lying in the water dungeon, couldn't help but make a sound after hearing this exclamation, which directly conveyed it to Naruto Vortex's mind. P.S. Note 1. Kakashi's father, Chimu Shuamao, Chimu Zuiyan, adopted the customary Chimu Shuamao style due to a different translation, only one was a transliteration. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ajiu. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 4 Ajiu. The life of the 9 llamas as tail beasts was not happy. Its life is full of regret. If there were a chance to start over again, the 9 llamas would definitely not be so arrogant. Until now, the 9 llamas still remember that they were wantonly venting their youth in the forest at that time. That was the happiness after winning their brothers and sisters. One by one, the tailed jade flew in the sky and gave off a gorgeous color like fireworks. And then it met a lunatic. That man's name is Qianshou Zhujian. When the other party comes up, they loudly say that the 9 llamas and other tailed beasts are too dangerous and need to be managed. Of course the 9 llamas are not satisfied. I am all at my own home then, there was no more. 9 brothers and sisters were captured by the man between the 1,000 hands. From that day on, the 9 llamas no longer believed in humans and were all lying and not blinking scammers. When the 9 tailed beasts were distributed among the major ninja villages to become human pillars, the 9 llamas, as the most dangerous one, were naturally placed next to the 1,000 armed pillars. The 9 llamas were sealed in the body of his wife, Vortex Mito, by the 1,000-handed pillar, making Vortex Mito the first 9-tailed pillar. The 9 llamas have always thought that Qianshou Zhujian and Uchiha are abnormal, but they did not expect that to some extent, the women of the Vortex clan are even more abnormal. Not only to beasts, but also to humans. It's not uncommon for 9 llamas to say it wants to see all the lights turned off. Of course, the 9 llamas also have first-hand experience. After all, most of the time this thing is used for themselves. Sealed in the bodies of these 2 women, the 9 llamas can be described as having a desire for immortality and dying. Compared to a certain level, the Zilai, one of the 3 ninjas of the wood leaf, can only be willing to bow down. After finally seeing the light again, its 9 llamas were manipulated by the Sharingan for a moment. The 9 llamas only wanted to write a tragic word on their legs. For some reason, during that period, the 9 llamas only felt that their legs were already filled with tragedy. It wasn't until it reached the body of Naruto Vortex and became the third 9-tailed pillar force that the days of the 9 llamas were much better. In a sense, it escaped from the demon cave and arrived at a brand new place. Fortunately, this Whirlpool clan doesn't have Whirlpool Mito and Whirlpool Juxina perverts, and won't play so beautifully. Most of the time, it stays quietly inside the other person's body, but some things get angrier as it thinks about them. So when it stays inside Naruto Vortex, the temper of the 9 llamas becomes much stronger. It is the master. The occasional act of quietly pulling the hind legs of Naruto Vortex is just a routine tactic of the 9 llamas, but more importantly, it is to lure this silly yellow-haired boy to release himself and vent his hidden anger. Until 2 years ago, the 9 llamas discovered the strangeness of this Naruto Vortex. When Naruto Vortex was 3 years old, this child was able to come to the sealed space to communicate with him, but their contact was not so perfect. The 9 llamas used their own terrifying methods to intimidate the child with ferocity. Unfortunately, the final result was not so good. This child named Naruto Vortex is too calm, looking like I have seen the world before. That appearance and expression made the 9 llamas even more angry. Especially when I saw a condescending appearance on that small body. Therefore, the first side came to an end without any progress. The 9 llamas roared for a long time, while Naruto Vortex was just standing quietly in the sealed space, enjoying a scene. The subsequent meetings were also not very perfect. Just like the first time, it was still the 9 llamas roaring, while Naruto Vortex remained quiet and stood there, watching silently. Once, twice, 3 times on the 7th occasion, the 9 llamas also knew that the method of scaring people with ferocity seemed to be ineffective, but they became puzzled by the child. The last 9 llamas asked, "What are you looking at?" It is said that happiness comes from comparison. I was very miserable in the village, but when I saw your appearance as a fox, I found that you were even more miserable. So I'm happy now. Naruto Vortex stared at the red eyes of the 9 llamas and gave this answer. At that time, the 9 lamas expressed their shock. What does it mean? The 9 lamas have a clear understanding of what kind of life Naruto Vortex is living in my village. It was originally impossible until Naruto Vortex appeared in the sealed space, and the 9 lamas were able to perceive the outside world through the power of the human pillar. Those days the 9 lamas expressed that as a tailed beast, they couldn't understand, but were greatly shocked. The 9-tailed man Zhu Li from the first 2 terms said that he had never lived such a miserable life before. After staying inside the human pillar for such a long time, the 9 lamas also gained a general understanding of the human world, but they never imagined that as the 4th generation son, Naruto Vortex would live such a miserable life. However, a sense of joy followed closely behind. The 9 lamas feel that the human pillar's strength is so miserable, it is really too happy. Then, the 9 lamas began their very unfamiliar seduction methods, trying to lure Naruto into darkness and gradually unravel its seal. Then it saw that Mingming Vortex Naruto was about to enter darkness, but as the sleep passed, the other person became bright again. This is a bit outrageous. In the following years, the 9 lamas and Naruto Vortex began this back and forth tug of war. Today, 9 lamas were quite surprised to hear that sentence from Naruto Vortex, which surprised him greatly. In various past tugs of war, in order to make Naruto Vortex fall into darkness, the 9 lamas even told the story of his father, Bofeng Shuemen, in order to stir up the emotional turmoil that Naruto Vortex experienced when he heard this news, thereby causing inner anger. So in the eyes of the 9 lamas, Naruto Vortex already knows about his parents. And now, after hearing the words "the waves of wind and water cannot escape death," the 9 lamas seem to have noticed a certain kind of indifference in the child's heart. Is it possible that it is the father's kindness and filial piety that the other party once said? Seal the space. After the 9 lamas spoke out, Naruto Vortex immediately closed his eyes and regained his composure, and his spirit entered the sealed space. At this time, the sealing space is much cleaner and brighter than before. In the past, there were constant drops of water, swaying candles, and a dark space. Coupled with the display of a water prison, it was simply a prison for imprisoning criminals. The current sealing space is no longer sufficient. The surroundings are bright, swaying not by candlelight, but by incandescent lamps, almost turning the entire sealed space into daylight. For this reason, the 9 lamas once obtained the incandescent light switch from Naruto Vortex regarding their own rest. Upon seeing the figure of Naruto Vortex appear in the sealed space, the 9 lamas lay at the door, looking at their own pillar with a smile on their faces. Looking up, Naruto Vortex faces the 9 lamas with 4 eyes. Facing the other person's gaze, Naruto Vortex spoke up and said, "It's still the question from before. As the 3rd 9-tailed pillar, why did I live such a miserable life in the village? Now let's invite the 9 lamas' children's shoes to answer." Ha! With a sneer, the 9 lamas grinned, their sharp teeth shining like ceramics in the light. "That's the same answer, of course it's because I'm the 9 lamas." Upon hearing this, Naruto Vortex laughed. "Ajiu, when did you start to have the illusion that you are so important?" End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Is important, but not so important. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 is important, but not so important, what? The 9 lamas never knew that such a short sentence would have such a great impact on them. That is a feeling of discomfort trapped in the bone marrow. The current 9 lamas do not know that this term has a special description. Pretending to be forced. It only felt that Naruto Vortex's words were even more annoying than the previous phrase, 9 tails are too strong, between the 1,000-handed pillars. For a moment, I felt very unhappy in my heart, but the 9 lamas still asked directly, "Why say I'm not important? What is a tailed beast?" That can be considered a strategic weapon for each village. If a village can have 1 pillar of power, it will bring a great combat power bonus to the village. Moreover, the 9 llamas are still the strongest among the 9-tailed beasts, and being a 9-tailed human pillar can be considered very important for a village. The 9 llamas dared to pat their furry chest and said that if anyone wanted to take the 9-tailed man Julie away from my village, the whole village would probably go crazy. Silly kid, don't you understand my combat prowess? With a grin on his face, the 9 llamas were full of ferocity and evil spirits, constantly spraying white air from his nostrils to show his power. I remember showing you my skills before. In the process of luring Naruto Vortex into darkness in the past, the 9 llamas had specifically conveyed to Naruto Vortex its heroic and spirited side in battle. Of course. The 9 llamas cut out the scene of themselves being controlled, leaving a completely different side for Naruto Vortex. From this perspective alone, the 9 llamas are well versed in the abilities of news media professionals. So Naruto Vortex, who was fully aware of the story, watched several stories that were finally edited by the 9 llamas with a strange expression on his face. In that scene, the 9 llamas are big enough to cover the sky and the sun. They either wave their 9 tails, roll up a big tree and smash it everywhere, or open their mouths, or a tail beast jade sprays everywhere. Underneath them are humans fleeing everywhere, watching the 9 llamas unleash their divine power in waves of panic, telling the story of the grand scene. From a distance, one can feel that it is the legendary 9-tailed demon fox. What a big scene! It can be considered a legendary masterpiece. At first glance, the 9 llamas actually have a talent for directing and editing. If someone who doesn't know the basics looks at it, they may be shocked by the series of visual impact operations of the 9 llamas, and then fall into the traps they have prepared step by step. Even the former Naruto Vortex would do the same. But now Naruto Vortex is not. Facing the fierce expression of the 9 llamas, Naruto Vortex gave a gentle comment. The expression is good, the tone is also good, but it still looks a bit exaggerated. You still need more practice, and there is still room for improvement. Later, before the 9 llamas could react, Naruto Vortex repeated what he had said back to 9 Tails with a smile, since you're so powerful, how could you be sealed? Then the 9 llamas continued to get stuck as usual. Although the 9 llamas were very angry in their hearts, in fact, they couldn't find any reason to refute it. For a moment, I could only go crazy on my own. If the previous 2 9-tailed human pillar forces were abnormal and liked to tie them up with chains, then now the entire human pillar force gives the 9 llama more of a feeling of madness, always with a sense of superiority, making the fox unable to resist feeling guilty. It's suppression. That is the absolute suppression of illiteracy by knowledge. It is the punishment imposed by strict teachers on students. Alright. It seems that the 9-tailed children's shoes still don't understand. With a gentle smile and the experience of teaching Charlotte Lingling, the teaching problems brought by the mere 9 tails are not worth mentioning. After speaking in a comforting tone, Naruto Vortex said, "Tell me how you were sealed inside my body. Don't rush to deny it. This question concerns the importance of your 9 tails. Do you also want to know the real reason?" After grinning wide and waving his teeth and claws for a while, the 9 llamas fell silent. The 9 llamas, who have been worn down for several years, have now lost their initial arrogance this morning. Unconsciously, the emotions of the 9 llamas have also changed a lot. After a while, one of its paws covered its head, while the other paw extended its pointed nails and gently tapped on the head of Naruto Vortex. In an instant, the scene of the 9 llamas being sealed in their own stomachs emerged in the mind of Naruto Vortex. Surprisingly, there was no editing done. Looking at the scene in his mind, Naruto Vortex unexpectedly scanned the 9 llamas. However, before Naruto Vortex could fully grasp his thoughts, he heard the 9 llamas muttering, "Kid, you know I'm only half of it now, otherwise it would be even stronger." Sure enough. The 9 llamas still feel that they are very important. A holographic image flashed through his mind, and Naruto Vortex felt a bit amused as he listened to the self-talk of the 9 llamas. He said, Ajiu, if you think about it again, could only my father, the fourth generation Hokage of Bofeng Shuemen, be able to seal you? Upon hearing this, the 9 llamas couldn't help but be taken aback. They immediately replayed the previous scene in their minds. While Naruto Vortex's question made them unhappy, they also pondered for a moment. The first generation of Fire's Shadow Thousand-Handed Pillar, the second generation of Fire's Shadow Thousand-Handed Gate, the third generation of Fire's Shadow Ape Flying Sun Slash, the fourth generation of Fire's Shadow Wave Wind Water Gate, and that damn Whirlpool Clan seal. The 9 llamas are silent. At this moment, it only felt that the village of Mai was very annoying. Huiying, the Whirlpool Clan, and the Uchiha Clan. Interestingly, the 9 llamas suddenly felt like they weren't that strong. The simple mindset of comparing the power between tailed beasts is not as strong, so it is not as important. Seeing Jiuwei fall into silence in his suddenly drooping ears, Naruto Vortex knew that Julama had also thought of something. With a satisfied smile, he spoke up and said, Ajiu, we have been in contact for so long and have a certain understanding of each other's personalities. In the process, I have also taught you some common sense. While there is still some time before I go to ninja school, let me tell you a little bit of something extraordinary. Perhaps Ajiu should change his attitude and see the world soon. Under the explanation of Naruto Vortex, although the 9 llamas are powerful, they can be controlled. Unlike the previous 2 installments of Renjuli, there are differences in his character, Naruto Vortex. From Naruto Vortex's words, the 9 llamas know that they are important, but not as important as they imagine. Because Mai has many ways to target Jiuwei. At first, it was okay. The 9 llamas thought they could still understand, but the rest left them confused. Although I don't understand, the 9 llamas still expressed that they were greatly shocked. Compared to the 9 llamas who only care about the size of their fists in the tailed beasts, this thing is indeed somewhat out of class. Alright. That's all for today. I should go to school now. Reaching out and patting Jiuwei's furry paws, Naruto Vortex felt the changes in time before saying goodbye. By the way, Ajiu, you still need to learn more from me in the future. Otherwise, you will always be just a beast in the eyes of others. In terms of Fox's level, in the eyes of others, Ajiu, you are not even as good as a toad snot worm. After speaking, the figure of Naruto Vortex disappeared into the sealed space, leaving only the 9 llamas pondering there. Looking at the disappearing figure of Naruto in the whirlpool, it was rare for the 9 llamas to not be angry with the other person's words. Instead, they scratched their own chin with their claws and muttered, strange. Does this kid suddenly become more confident? 1 less introverted, 3 more arrogant, this is the impression left by Naruto Vortex to the 9 llamas today. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The Best Ninjutsu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The Best Ninjutsu. Today's wood leaves, the wind is still a bit noisy. Naruto Vortex, who was alone on the street, was wearing his own classic costume and strolling on the way to the ninja school. Walking on the road, Naruto Vortex's face still showed a consistent indifference, with an impulse to constantly prepare for pranks. Listening to the occasional idle words floating in his ears, Naruto Vortex knew that these ordinary people had started their daily cold violence against the 4th generation of orphans on time. Feeling the surroundings, besides these familiar strangers who could no longer be familiar with each other, Naruto Vortex also discovered the hidden shadows monitoring him around. Monitoring oneself every day has basically become a daily routine for this part of the dark side. When I wake up in the early morning, the dark department comes to my home to check in, and then I don't finish work until I go to bed. Not only that, they also need to leave candidates to choose a rented room in the distance for long-term attention. He goes to school and works in the dark. Everyone has beautiful days. If we don't look at the life of Naruto Vortex in the village, and only look at the scale of this guard, it is much better than the treatment of Kayamaru. This is the clear second generation. Despite the rumors circulating in his ears, Naruto Swirlpool let the gentle breeze blow his golden hair. He casually stroked his hair to straighten his hairstyle, and then accelerated his pace towards the school. Have breakfast. That's impossible. Because few people on the street sell themselves breakfast. Even many things that one can buy are still about to expire or are already expired, such as milk. In recent years, Naruto Vortex has only discovered one place where he can safely go to eat. That's Yao Lamian Noodles. That is the only noodle shop that doesn't give him face. This can also understand why Naruto likes Yao Lamian noodles so much in the original story. Naruto Vortex personally tasted it, but the taste was just ordinary and not very delicious. In the eyes of Schwanwa Naruto, the attitude of Yao Lamian noodles is commendable. What Naruto likes in the original is not Lamian noodles, but the normal attitude. So if given the opportunity now, Naruto Vortex would also choose to go to a noodle shop. Compared to this, the ninja school in Kiba is actually a 6-year program, which is an excellent political policy of the second-generation Hokage. When watching anime before, Naruto Vortex thought it was a 3-year production or something like that. After all, there are often absurd stories like entering school at the age of 4 and graduating at the age of 5, which makes Naruto Vortex subconsciously think it's 3 years or even shorter. It wasn't until he was 6 years old when he was arranged to enroll by the 3rd Hokage that Naruto Vortex realized that this ninja school was somewhat of a primary school. After going to school, Naruto Vortex learned for a semester that the painstaking efforts of the second generation had completely deteriorated. The ninja school has transformed from an enlightening role to a simple manufacturing facility, becoming a simple cannon fodder production institution. The time spent on graduation has become a battleground for some geniuses. People with blood heirs or ninja families are better able to stand out. As for ordinary people, they should treat themselves as ordinary ninjas, and if they are lucky enough to survive and become a medium ninja, it is considered the pinnacle. Being able to become a top ninja is something that is unique, and one is already a kind of genius, along with having a great fortune. Chimo Kakashi and Yukabo Itachi are representatives of geniuses, while Might Kai is one of the ordinary geniuses and becoming a ninja is already the end of his upward path. Compared to others, Might Kai still read some books at ninja school, but he's a bit clumsy. And Chimo Kakashi and Yukabo Itachi, these two geniuses, I have read less books. This is Naruto Vortex's evaluation of these two individuals after attending ninja school. No matter what ninja school ultimately talks about the inheritance of will, what do children who graduated from a 6-year school after only 1 or 2 years in school know? Not only due to the war at that time, but more importantly, the 3rd Hokage completely revised the school's textbooks. In the past, ninja schools had many advanced ninjutsu techniques, but now in schools, there are only 3 body techniques, which can be considered powerful even if you lose or suffer. If you want to have a decent ninjutsu, you can only rely on your family. Ordinary people. The best level for ordinary people is Sakura's level. Her written exam results are very good. All those ninjutsu were confiscated by the 3rd generation, and these ninjutsu were placed openly in the Forbidden Spell Scroll, under the supervision of many dark forces. If the 2nd generation of ninja schools can be considered as the pillars of Kiba village, but the 3rd generation of ninja schools can only produce more cannon fodder. 3 generations of Hokage have mastered the most important thing a ninja wants to ascend. Ninjutsu. In layman's terms, knowledge has completely cut off the upward path of ordinary people in Kiba village in the ninja world. More importantly, during his school career in recent years, Naruto Vortex discovered that the textbooks in the school had some mathematical, physical, and chemical elements, but almost everything in the humanities only focused on the will of fire, with no other aspects of life philosophy or anything else. Teaching students how to improve their theoretical grades, even how to set traps for exams, and how to shoot out suffering in a better way. These things are all mastered under the influence of cannon fodder, and the ninjutsu taught in schools is the 3-body technique. The true masters are all kinds of ninjutsu, or just powerful body techniques? Who would care about these small traps and suffering? Is it difficult to cultivate an existence that can be thrown away from 800 miles away, even if it is a battle? What can schools like this cultivate? Either it's cannon fodder, or it's a pervert, killing one's own family. What's even more outrageous is that in order to replace the will of fire with his own body, Kiba's future needs to start with a doll, and he became the principal of the ninja school. Humming an inexplicable tune all the way, he lazily arrived at school and calculated his days. Naruto Vortex decided that today was a good day to skip school. In the past, that's how he came here. As soon as he stepped into the school gate, Naruto Vortex in the distance had already seen the cold and frosty Ajiu children's shoes, surrounded by a group of little girls, causing Ajiu to be extremely annoyed. Among them, the main ones are Chunai Sakura and Shanjong Inoue. At this moment, the two women are spraying around the two pillars, both wanting to become the vine on the pillar's body. Similarly, as he stepped into the classroom, Naruto Vortex also noticed a gaze that was quietly scrutinizing him. No need to look, Naruto Vortex also knows that he has been looked down upon by others. In addition, there is a group of boys gathered nearby, seemingly arguing about something. There, Akido Dinji and others also participated. Upon seeing this, Naruto Vortex first threw a smile in the direction of Hinata, and then walked towards the classmates who were gathered together. Before approaching, Naruto Vortex heard what they were arguing about. There are many things in this world that people will argue about, and no matter what they say, there will be a phenomenon of comparison and confrontation. In Naruto's impression, only when the seeds are sown can a harmonious good person live a peaceful life. The most controversial aspect is the comparison of force values. Approaching the edge, Naruto already knew what they were arguing about. That's what kind of ninjutsu is the most powerful. Among them, Inazukaya fought fiercely with a dog in his arms. After listening for a while, Naruto Vortex couldn't help but approach and say, I don't know what the strongest ninjutsu is, but I know what the best ninjutsu is for men. The argument came to an abrupt end. What is it? Inazukaya spoke out, his face red and ears red, indicating that the argument had just been intense. Naruto Vortex did not directly answer, but extended his palm and patted Akido Dinji's shoulder fiercely in his bewildered gaze, saying, of course it's the enlargement technique at Dinji's house. Autumn Dao Dingxi and a group of boys are not sure why. On the contrary, Lumaru, who was lying lazily pretending to sleep next to him, suddenly lifted his head and looked at the end of the crane in the class. Naruto Vortex with a shocked expression. Looking at the strange and smiling look in Naruto's eyes as he looked at him, Lumaru knew he knew. With a swish. As if changing his face, Lumaru's face turned red. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Youth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Youth. What kind of ninjutsu is the most powerful? This kind of problem is not the first time it has appeared. Once there is nothing else to do after class break, a group of boys will gather together to discuss some messy issues. For example, the question of the power of ninjutsu has been raised in Naruto Vortex's impression. I don't know how many times it has been. Every time we argue, our faces and ears turn red, and when this question first came up, it was Naruto Vortex who silently induced others to raise it. Even ordinary ninja students from ordinary backgrounds were eliminated after only participating once or twice, and had to stand by and listen without any room for interruption. At the beginning, things like the art of the giant fireball were proposed, and many people felt that the power of this fire escape ninjutsu was very great. They are just boys under the age of 9, how many of them have truly experienced powerful ninjutsu? Among them, there is no need to mention students from ordinary civilian backgrounds. However, students from their families have a much better understanding, and in the hearts of many students, they believe that their own secret techniques are the most powerful. Just that you think your family's secret techniques are powerful, but others don't know. If the friends present don't admit it, you won't feel the thrill of pretending to be forced. Then someone raised the question, since you said that someone's technique is powerful, how do you prove it? After this issue arose, the situation began to change as expected by Naruto Vortex. Some people argue with each other with red faces and red ears, even in anger and embarrassment. They directly agree not to leave after school, and we will use combat to evaluate. Other boys act as spectators and judges around, directly judging what kind of ninjutsu is powerful. After several conflicts, this confrontation was discovered by the teachers in the school. In the end, it was teacher Irika who stopped it and assigned a bunch of homework to a group of students, effectively preventing the situation from escalating. Among them, the three-person group of pig, deer, and butterfly did not compete as fiercely. Except for Aikido Dinji's occasional argument, Naralumaru in the three-person group was paddling, while Ino Yamanaka was addicted to sparking with Sakura Haruno for the two pillars. However, for Naruto Vortex, although the situation he induced was stopped by teacher Irika, he was not very disappointed. From the struggles of these classmates, Naruto Vortex, as an observer, achieved what he wanted. Binding technique. Even with his innate psychic ability, he had a rough idea of how chakra operates. Regarding his own spiritual power, Naruto Vortex felt that he should have opened up the so-called divine joy of the Vortex clan. The effect is stronger than the mind eye, to some extent achieving a similar probing effect as the white eye and the riding will eye. Combining these apparent things, Naruto Vortex has the opportunity to conduct their own experiments and explore their secrets. If it were simply in reality, there would be no opportunity for Naruto Vortex, but in his own spiritual space, he could borrow his spiritual body to simulate reality and explore the true operation of these secrets. Naruto Vortex has enough confidence to ignore the consequences of failure. Even Naruto Vortex can use this experiment to optimize these secrets and make them stronger. In the class, except for the secrets of the pig-deer-butterfly trio, most of the ninjutsu and even family secrets of others were experimented with by Naruto Vortex in the spiritual space. Similarly, Naruto Vortex is still very interested in the secret techniques of the three families of Zhu Lu Dai. Especially after Charlotte Lingling appeared in the spiritual space, Naruto Vortex put Aikido Dinji's family secrets first. The doubling technique of the Autumn Taoist school is a must for the Whirlpool Naruto. The fire's shadow cannot stop it. This is what Naruto said. As for things like spiral pills, Naruto Vortex has already fully explored them in his spiritual space, including a series of spiral pill series that have been continued later, which Naruto Vortex has simulated using his spiritual body. Not only did he remove the original spiral pill series, but he also built other things and created new things within it. Including the Leichi Naruto master behind the two pillars, he also learned in space and outlined a path for future development. Unfortunately, his chakra attribute does not have the attribute of thunder in reality. He can simulate all attributes in different spiritual spaces, which makes people feel a bit regretful. Since he personally behaved well and obtained a set of basic ninjutsu knowledge from the third-generation Hokage, his true level of Naruto Vortex has long exceeded the average level through spiritual space. If he were to remove his disguise in reality, his strength would shock everyone. Looking at Naralumaru's sudden blush, Naruto Vortex couldn't help but want to laugh. It's very obvious. Naralumaru understood. As for his Naruto Vortex. In the original work, don't expect Naruto himself to be so pure if he can develop the art of seduction. Moreover, nowadays Naruto can skillfully drive and fly, and the only regret is that only a group of classmates around 9 years old are racing together, which is really boring. After seeing the expression on Naruto's face, Naralumaru turned his head and lay down on the table pretending to be asleep. As long as one is not embarrassed, it is others who are embarrassed. Glancing at the two-pillar children's shoes surrounded by a group of girls again, Naruto Vortex couldn't help but laugh. At first, Ajiu also participated in this discussion, and then Ajiu gave an unexpected answer. In the eyes of Ajiu, the most powerful ninjutsu is the technique of the fire dungeon and fireball. Naruto Vortex was shocked at the time. Upon deep reflection, the performance of the second pillar is no exception. Leaving aside the fact that among the Uchiha clan, they have been favored since childhood, and the ninjutsu taught by others was already considered powerful for Uchiha Sasuke at that time. The most important thing is that the giant fireball sprayed from the two pillars is much smaller than the Uchiha Itachi. It can be said that Uchiha Itachi had a significant impact on Sasuke. Not only did it comfort and assist in teaching ninjutsu and Uchiha throwing techniques, but it also made Sasuke aware of the talent gap between himself and his brother from a young age. After Uchiha Itachi wiped out the clan, Uchiha Sasuke angrily opened a jade writing will eye under Uchiha Itachi's illusion. Afterwards, except for home, everything else in Uchiha no longer belonged to Sasuke. Being able to articulate the strongest technique of the fireball is also understandable. Then, there were no more pillars. Uchiha Sasuke's children's shoes are getting colder and colder. He never participated in any of the subsequent debates or conversations, even when facing a group of girls surrounding him. Naruto Vortex's answer certainly satisfied Aikido Denji. He felt that this classmate was very good and worth sharing his potato chips. But the chubby guy still doesn't understand why he needs to add a prefix. Man. This answer is not understood or agreed upon by anyone other than Aikido Denji, who is satisfied, and Nara Lomaru, who feels the charm. Everyone was young, and soon in a commotion, everyone unconsciously changed the topic. Do you know? I've recently discovered a strange place, said Inazukaya in a low voice, with the little dog on his head. What strange thing? Naruto Vortex played the role of a comedian very well. For some reason, I recently noticed that my sister's dog has become more curvaceous in shape, much more attractive than Akamaru. Speaking of this, Inazukaya extended his hands and gestured a clever S-dot shape, with a peculiar expression on his face. Wong Wong. Akamaru expressed dissatisfaction, believing that he would grow up. Nara Lomaru, who had just lay down and pretended to sleep, lifted his head again and looked at Inazukaya with a shocked expression. On the side, Naruto Vortex was also greatly shocked. Is this the little boy's restless thoughts? What does it mean that Inazukaya doesn't look at your sister, but instead stares at her own sister's dog? Even more surprising was that Yoshinori, who had been hiding on one side, pushed the sunglasses on her nose and spoke in agreement. I also noticed that the swaying posture of some insects is very attractive. Click. With a soft noise, Nara Lomaru felt as if his neck had twisted. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Consequences of Binding. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Consequences of Binding, Class. Teacher Iruka appeared in the classroom holding the textbook, directly dispelling the originally lively atmosphere. The group of girls gathered around the second pillar immediately returned to their respective seats, while the boys who had previously gathered together to discuss the issue also returned to their original positions. Teacher Iruka, who was standing on the podium, first scanned the surroundings with his eyes and froze the number of students in his mind. It was only then that he did not unexpectedly notice that the blonde-haired boy, Naruto Vortex, had skipped class again. He wanted to ask if other classmates had bullied Naruto again, but when his words reached his throat, he was pushed back by Teacher Iruka without asking. How could Teacher Iruka not be clear about Naruto Vortex's encounter? Even in his own heart, Iruka harbors hatred towards Naruto Vortex, and the Nine Tails Rebellion 9 years ago ultimately caused great trauma to Kiba. Not to mention the ordinary people who died and those ninjas, even the highly respected fourth-generation couple among the common people died in battle on the spot. How can this ending prevent Iruka from feeling hatred towards Naruto Vortex, the nine-tailed pillar power? However, unlike the people on the street, Iruka still sorted out his emotions. As an ordinary ninja, he truly demonstrated the great character that a teacher should possess. Iruka never targets Vortex Naruto, and even encourages Vortex Naruto from time to time and makes up lessons. In addition, he occasionally takes time out to spend his salary to invite Vortex Naruto to have a delicious meal of ramen noodles. Even so, Naruto Vortex still occasionally skips classes. Iruka also understands this situation. As Naruto Vortex, the environment in the class is not very good. From the perspective of a teacher, students from ordinary civilian backgrounds in the class tend to have hatred towards Naruto Vortex, even under his persuasion. This opposing sentiment has been alleviated, but every time they return home, a part of it will come back under the words of their respective parents, and even more serious. And this group of students from the ninja tribe have a close relationship with Naruto Vortex, appearing to be cautious and on guard. Just an ordinary ninja teacher like Iruka doesn't know the meaning behind it. In his opinion, it may be because the fourth generation died in battle, which made these children from the ninja tribe equally hostile. The only surprise for Iruka was Hinata, who came from a wealthy family. The little girl seemed inexplicably fond of Naruto Vortex, the nine-tailed pillar force. Looking at Uchiha Sasuke again, he still had a cold and impatient expression on his face. Reaching out and scratching her head, Iruka felt that it was unfortunate to have two students in her class who had been somewhat miserable in the past. However, in Iruka's view, this misfortune is not his own misfortune, but the misfortune of two students. As a teacher, what Iruka needs to do is to give these two people warmth and let them know that at least someone else cares about him. Taking back his emotions, teacher Iruka began to pick up his textbook and tap on the table, officially starting the day's lesson. At the same time, in the forest on the outskirts of my village, Naruto Vortex was standing with his back against a big tree, and not far in front of him was a big black bear roaring at him. After a roar, the big black bear rushed straight towards Naruto, and in the blink of an eye, it came to the front of Naruto. Then the person stood up and waved its paw towards the little person in front of it. Ha! The rolling wind blew by. The golden hair in front of the forehead kept dancing under the airflow brought by the paw of the big black bear. Ignoring the big black bear that had already arrived in front of him, Naruto Vortex was slightly surprised as he tilted his head and kept caressing his neck with one hand. Just now, the suddenly disappearing shadow clone brought the ultimate enjoyment to Naruto Vortex. The neck of the clone seemed to twist, and then after going to the bathroom, she quietly ran out under the gaze of some people, finding a beautiful spot to release the clone. At the moment of returning, a wave of pain immediately came and then disappeared. But the pain still made Naruto Vortex involuntarily stroke his neck. Having retrieved the memories passed from the shadow clone, Naruto Vortex couldn't help but laugh and cry. It turns out that it's not just him who's twisting his neck, but also the paddling king Nara Lumuru. Undoubtedly belonging to the Nara clan, I can drive at such a young age. As for learning how to become a shadow clone, the three body techniques taught in school, combined with basic knowledge of ninjutsu, are the best textbooks. The combination of these two allowed Naruto Vortex to directly experiment and infer the binding and chakra operation of the shadow clone in the spiritual space. At the same time, the bear paw, which was the size of a head, also landed on the head of Naruto Vortex. Bang! There was no scene of brain overflow, only the sound of smashing on steel. Naruto Vortex stood expressionless in place, motionless, letting the bear claws cover his entire face. Owl! The painful howling of the big black bear echoed in the forest. As an animal, it now clearly perceives that the bone in its paw is broken. What is the creature in front of me? That feeling is more painful for the bear than hitting a stone. The creature instinctively sensed terror, and before the big black bear could retract its claws and escape, it saw the little man in front of it grab its own paw and easily swing it up. Then, the big black bear felt the scenery in front of him turn upside down, and a severe pain spread throughout his body, instantly losing consciousness. At this moment, all the bones in his body were shattered. Just like the Hulk tossing Rocky, the Naruto swirl, who finished tossing the big black bear, looked at the body of the big black bear lying in front of him, as well as the two pits on his side, and once again praised Charlotte Lingling's outstanding talent. The shackles of this golden powder aristocratic family are truly formidable. A family. The sharing of talents, however, strength comes from strength, but after adding this bond and acquiring Charlotte Lingling's talent, it also brings corresponding sequelae. If we used to be able to stick to skipping breakfast and make up for it at other times, but after getting the steel balloon, this past behavior habit has been broken. He is hungry. The intestines are wriggling, and stomach acid is secreting. While dragging the big bear to the river for cleaning, Naruto Vortex is also analyzing this situation. I finally understand why Lingling loves to eat sweets so much. It's because she's using sugar to replenish energy for her body. The called anorexia fundamentally refers to the body's cells' thirst for energy. It's going crazy from hunger. That's a biological instinct. Lingling just doesn't care about not exercising and allows her body to develop freely. Even so, she still needs to establish a cake island and use countless sweets to support her body's energy absorption. Is it difficult for Naruto Vortex to establish a dessert kingdom in this world of unified ninja, to cook for me? Forget it. Let's fill our stomachs first. Shaking his head, Naruto Vortex decided not to think about anything else for the time being, or to fill his stomach first. At this moment, he felt every cell in his body shouting and telling them their demands. Hungry. I'm so hungry. They need sufficient nutrition and energy to become stronger. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Food Deficiency Disorder. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Food Deficiency Disorder. A large black bear, the size of 2 adults, entered Naruto's belly at an unimaginable speed. At this moment, Naruto's stomach was like an invisible black hole, constantly devouring the food that had entered the stomach, to the point where its rate of ingestion could not keep up with the rate of food breakdown in the stomach. Not only that, Naruto also realized that his body's efficiency in breaking down food was much stronger than before. A big black bear of this size is almost completely broken down after entering the stomach and intestines. The impact brought by the steel balloon caused a huge change in his own cells, as they almost squeezed out all the food that could generate energy, leaving almost no residue. In Naruto's personal perception, these foods were forcefully broken down and absorbed by his own cells at the atomic level. Unfortunately, this is just Naruto's feeling. It is an illusion brought about by the momentary increase in power. The physical fitness of those people in the world of pirates is indeed impressive, but Charlotte Lingling's talent is even more outrageous. A black bear fell down, and Naruto couldn't help but touch his belly. He looked at the big black bear in front of him, which had only fur and organs left, and not even bones, and sighed, "It's still not enough." Surprisingly, I didn't feel any sense of fullness, as if I had eaten a meal of air. A bear's meat is far from enough for me. Now I feel like I can eat at least 100 heads. Speaking of which, it seemed like something was coming to mind. Naruto suddenly formed a one-handed seal and immediately used ninjutsu. Water escape. Water mirror technique. In an instant, the mist condensed in front of Naruto, and a round water mirror appeared. This water mirror technique is considered to have been created by Naruto and is vastly different from the water mirror technique of the 4th generation Shuei Yakura. This water mirror is literally a water mirror, simply a mirror. Due to its chakra nature belonging to the wind, Naruto actually borrowed its own wind attribute for assistance when performing water escape. Fundamentally speaking, Naruto's ninjutsu is not water escape, but a variant of wind escape. Naruto forcefully compressed the water molecules in the air with the wind attribute chakra, and under violent control, these water molecules formed their desired form. Looking at the image displayed on the water mirror in front of him, Naruto couldn't help but take a deep breath. I saw that the appearance presented in the mirror was not the slightly thin and weak appearance of Naruto Vortex in the past, but rather the same as Naruto Vortex. He looked as thin as firewood, with a pitiful appearance that had been squeezed dry by countless women. Fortunately, after obtaining that bond today, Naruto was prepared to skip class and used his shadow clone. Otherwise, his current appearance in the school may startle everyone. After carefully feeling the chakra inside my body, apart from its disguise, the constantly generated chakra is being continuously engulfed by cells. The Vortex clan has always been a chakra powerhouse, and the amount of chakra they use is astonishing. The reason why the Whirlpool Gate turned into that emaciated and woody appearance was due to the extraction of chakra by the external demon statue, but he is not the Whirlpool Naruto. Just because she had mastered Charlotte Lingling's physical talent due to her own constraints, and then she became like this. This steel balloon talent is even more outrageous than Naruto had imagined. Now it seems that I am trying to disguise myself, and the related nutrients are not sufficient. The person may appear a bit thin and weak, but with this talent added, it fully activates some ability of the cells in the body, forming a steel balloon belonging to Naruto Vortex. Firstly, extract nutrients, and after drawing a portion, these thirsty cells immediately realize that their body lacks nutrients and begin to extract the chakras they produce themselves. In almost an instant, the chakra was almost completely drained. If it had been in the past, Naruto would have noticed his physical problems long ago, but with the talent of steel balloon, Naruto couldn't help but develop the same symptoms of anorexia as Charlotte Lingling. All my energy has been focused on suppressing anorexia, whereas there more focus on other aspects. After discovering this, Naruto immediately closed his eyes and entered the sealed space. He said to the 9 llamas lying in the cage, "Ajiu, borrow chakra for a while." What? Looking at Naruto Vortex, who had just said a sentence and was waiting in the sealed space, the 9 llamas felt inexplicable. But it did not refuse. Because this is Naruto Vortex's first request to it. And the 9 llamas also want to see what Naruto Vortex wants from his chakra. Can they possibly want to go to war and seek revenge against Kiba? This venue has been arranged by the 9 llamas. Quickly, the red chakra passed through the gap in the cage and entwined towards the Naruto whirlpool. Then, the 9 llamas saw a scene that shocked them. At the moment when the red 9-tailed chakra touched the spiritual body of Naruto Vortex, it was as if encountering an invisible vortex and was directly drawn in under an invisible attraction. The feeling given to the 9 llamas is that their chakras seem to have been connected to an inexplicable water pipe, where the faucet opens and begins to extract their chakras without restraint. Even if the 9 llamas instinctively wanted to stop, they found that there was already a connection between the two and couldn't stop at all. Its own chakra is out of control. What is this special thing? 9 llamas are lost. In reality. Naruto, who opened his eyes again, first glanced at the red chakra that had just flashed past him, and then the chakra disappeared into his body, without the so-called layer of tail beast coat appearing. In the water mirror, Naruto also saw that his appearance was gradually enriched by his emaciated image, quickly filling in his chakra deficiency and returning to his original state, even showing some signs of gaining weight. Meanwhile, Naruto also noticed a slight sign of fever in his body. It feels like having a hot pot meal, and the previously tormented anorexia has also been relieved. The stomach no longer began to wriggle recklessly, the sour taste no longer appeared in the mouth, and a relaxed feeling appeared all over the body, making Naruto couldn't help but let out a comfortable moan. Ah, comfortable. After absorbing enough 9-tailed chakras for an hour, Naruto finally felt full. At least at this moment, this chakra meal was considered breakfast by Naruto's entire body cells. For these cells, for the first time in 9 years, they feel full. During this period, the 9 llamas in the sealed space were also getting angry, feeling like they had encountered scammers and thieves. This feeling reminds the 9 llamas of the Golden and Silver Horn brothers. That annoying feeling of stealing from oneself has come again. Now, its 9 llamas require explanations from Naruto Vortex. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Chakra on the tongue. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 10 Chakra on the tongue. My village. In a remote park. On a swing, the small figure of Naruto Vortex sat alone on it, swaying and swaying, staring into the distance with a specific concave shape. Background, composition. Even posture. They are all telling the world about that indescribable loneliness. This scene did not fall into the eyes of ordinary people, nor did any so-called acquaintances see it. The only ones who saw this scene were the dark ninjas who had been hiding around monitoring Naruto Vortex. Unfortunately, these people have no mood to experience that loneliness at all. They have long been accustomed to it. As ninjas and loyal subordinates of Hokage, they only care about their own tasks. As long as the nine-tailed pillar force is not in danger, no matter what happens, they will only quietly watch from a distance and wait for the instructions of the Fire Shadow Lord. However, these dark forces could never have imagined that what they were monitoring was always a shadow clone, and it was also a clone that was somewhat different from ordinary shadow clone techniques. Naruto Vortex's shadow clone technique is fundamentally derived from the substitute technique of the three-body technique, and is a so-called shadow clone technique that he has invested a lot of energy in spiritual space to speculate on. Naruto had no idea what the shadow clone technique and even the multi-shadow clone technique created by the second generation Hokage were and how they were operated. He had no idea at all. The current shadow clone technique is actually different from the normal shadow clone technique. This is the result of the different understandings of their respective knowledge between Naruto and Chiba. Naruto does not know if this will lead to the same goal, but corresponding precautions must also be taken. In addition to the shadow clone technique, Naruto also added other techniques on top of his shadow clone, such as the specially created disguise technique, which is used to guard against White Eyes and Sharingan. Even though White Eyes and Sharingan may not be able to discern the true or false identity of the shadow clone and the main body, in Naruto's opinion, this is not safe enough and requires an additional layer of protection. For example, if a villager splashes water and throws debris on themselves, or if other bear kids surround themselves, and so on. At least in Naruto's view, his shadow avatar cannot be easily dispersed by a single blow, it must be able to resist beating. So this special shadow clone began performing according to the script, arranged by Naruto. The audience is the villagers of Kiba village, the third generation Hokage in the shadows and peeping. Just as Naruto's shadow clone skipped class and went to the park to sit on the swing in a daze according to the original plan, Naruto, as the main body, was currently guiding the 9 llamas sealed in his belly. In the sealed space, the emotions of the 9 llamas are very high now. Borrow chakra, it borrowed. Karanjuli did not take any action against Mai, nor did he engage in any other behavior. The 9 llamas had no idea where the chakra he had borrowed had gone. This makes the 9 llamas very unhappy. Since it's not revenge, isn't the 9 llamas a white gang? It felt like it had been wasted for an hour. How to think and how to lose. Now, its 9 llamas need Naruto Vortex to provide a corresponding explanation for this. In the sealed space. Naruto looked up at the red fox, which was constantly emitting white air from its nostrils. Looking at its open mouth, sharp teeth, and ferocious eyes, he told Naruto one thing. Its 9 tails were truly angry. Just as the 9 llamas were about to shout and question, they suddenly saw Naruto make a move. Naruto raised his right index finger and slowly placed it in front of his lips, making a silent gesture. Shoo! Don't make a sound. Let me feel it carefully. Ajiu, your chakra gives people a kind of mother's warmth. That feeling was like lying in the fuzz, the warmth and comfort of the whole body, making people couldn't help but go and take a good pull. With his arms outstretched, Naruto stood on the water in front of the cage, facing the questioning gaze of the 9 llamas, making an intoxicated gesture and loudly expressing his feelings. What? The words that had reached his mouth were choked up in his throat, and the 9 llamas looked shocked and amazed. What exactly happened to Naruto Vortex, this little ghost. What did he just borrow his chakra and do? Somehow, the 9 Lamas saw the unique abnormality of the first 2 people, Julie, from Naruto Vortex. Perhaps this kid doesn't play with chain binding, but he definitely developed some other special hobby. For a moment, wanting to lose his temper, the momentum of the 9 Lamas who had been arguing for hours was inexplicably suppressed by Naruto's speech. Ajiu. Naruto suddenly spoke. 9 Lamas on guard. What do you want, little ghost? Naruto didn't pay attention to the vigilance of the 9 Lamas, but said seriously, Ajiu, do you know the taste of chakra? Chakra. Taste. What does it mean? These 2 words are recognized by the 9 Lamas separately, but when put together, they look strange. Besides, aren't chakras all of various attributes? The 9 Lamas couldn't help but straighten their bodies, raise their heads, and make a backward movement, like an old man looking at his phone on the subway. How could chakra possibly have a smell? Naruto gave his own answer. Before this, Naruto was also unaware, but after fettering Charlotte Lingling and sharing her steel balloon physique, Naruto learned about the taste of chakra. Don't believe it. Ajiu, you try mine. As the words fell, Naruto cut a small ball of chakra from his body and divided it into 2 pieces. One piece was thrown towards Jiu, and the other was thrown into his mouth. When Naruto had a previous episode of anorexia and used the tail beast chakra instead of food energy, he felt like he had found the best medicine to treat anorexia caused by the steel balloon physique. Subconsciously, he took the little chakra that belonged exclusively to Naruto Vortex, and the 9 Lamas stared at the other person as they placed their own chakra in their mouth and continued to chew it. This measure truly shook the 9 Lamas. It's so big, this is the first time I've seen such a scene. This taste. It's actually hot with sweet, and this is the taste of Kung Pao chicken. Chewing his own chakra, Naruto's eyebrows jumped with this tone. How could it be such a taste? Frowning and analyzing, Naruto felt that he had found the reason. I understand. It was Azura who added sugar, Yang Shield, to my chakra. No. Not only that. Spicy flavor is the chakra flavor of the 9 Lamas. The process of just absorbing the 9-tailed chakra seems to give Naruto a slightly pickled feeling, as if he has just emerged from the hot pot city. Spicy and sweet, both of which are not the flavors of Naruto's own chakra. To confirm this speculation, Naruto pulled a small piece of hair from the 9 Lamas and transformed it into a 9-tailed chakra, then put it in his mouth. After smacking his mouth, Naruto nodded to confirm that his inference was correct. Spicy and sweet are not their own chakra flavors. Look up again. I saw the 9 Lamas with their slender fox eyes wide open, holding the small Naruto chakra and staring blankly at what was happening before them. Why don't you eat? Don't be polite. Naruto greeted him kindly, and casually threw a larger chakra ball at the 9 Lamas. The 9 Lamas did not understand this scene and only felt greatly shocked. That's really a small knife pulling your butt, opening your eyes. End of this chapter.